directions like that you can use for any activity.
I was already thinking that. I think honestly, sometimes when I'm teaching students to sing, I do have all these silly little warm-ups that allow them to use different kinds of air control and pieces of their register. But then as soon as we start singing, they can't do it. They can't they can't sing as easily or as freely. And I'm like, guys, as soon as you start to think I'm singing, you change. You're like, it's like you're like you said, like your micromanager, he's not supposed to micromanage that. He's not good at that.
So you could
And
you could
you're not doing it right.
you could
You
say
don't, I'm not singing.
I would experiment with yourself a bit, walking.
Yeah.
Um, um, the experiment should be fairly short, 15 seconds, 30 seconds, where you deliberately you use a direction that you believe and you experience to be helpful. Like if you're walking, I'm not walking.
Hmm.
And then you switch over to a nonsense. And maybe if you're walking down the block or walking down a long corridor at school, you might switch a couple of times. And you do that just so you can sense that difference. Because when you say I'm green, what you're saying is to, as far as your unconscious mind is concerned, she doesn't want any change from the way she is normally walks. And so it tosses you right back into your old pattern. And after, it'll be great when you don't have to do the turn, because the turn adds a level of complexity that we're not ready for just yet. So a long walk at school, maybe you have long corridors. What's the surface of those corridors like? Stone,
Carpet. For the most part,
carpet in the
it's like a
hallways
thin, thin,
too? Oh,
yeah, it's carpet everywhere. But
huh.
I mean the cafeteria is more of like a sleek or a tile or something like that. But
Maybe you could sneak into the cafeteria, find a long walk, and just
could
like
do the auditorium
longer
stage.
than from you to that door, and play with switching mid-walk, because you that's an instant throwback to your habitual way. It's
Hmm.
it's like, I mean, sometimes people almost trip, that because suddenly what was going on that was light becomes heavy in a way. But really, that heavy was what was there before. It's just that you have the contrast
Hmm.
now. Now, you can
Okay.
explore this on yourself with any activity. And even an activity like, let's just do this quick experiment. See if this may work, it may not. You're sitting here right now on a chair or stool or whatever, right? I'm not sitting here. I'm not sitting.
I actually was doing this while I was listening to you.
Oh, you're jumping ahead.
I
And you
was
notice a
because
difference.
yes, because sometimes I'm thinking, gosh, I'm uncomfortable how I sit. Why am I sitting like that? Should I
And
uncross my legs? And then
yeah,
I'm like,
and
why am I
notice what
thinking about
just
how I'm sitting?
notice on the video what you did. You made a lot of big movements, right?
Yeah.
Those
Uh-huh.
those movements aren't going to change the underlying situation, really. I mean, you
Hmm.
could get some temporary relief from tension by tensing something else up instead, but that's just rearranging tensions, and we don't want that. We want to get rid of harmful tensions, and
Right.
that's what we're all about. So any situation you're in, chopping vegetables, painting the ceiling, who knows, you could just say, you could think very lightly, I'm not doing fill in the blank. And in Alexander jargon, that's called a paradoxical direction. And they're quite new. They're like less than 20 years old. And they are, um, a lot of people are using them a lot these days. So That would be,
Awesome.
and there's no reason why you can't, especially with your students or your kids, get them to play with that idea. And the whole reason for having the nonsense thought also, instead of just saying throw the other thought away, is that a lot of times people have a hard time throwing a thought away. So switching over to a nonsense thought takes care of that. Because chances are this part of your brain, it's as much as it can do right now to have one new thought. So if you now say, um, I'm green, that will throw out the thought of I'm not walking. So it's just
Yeah.
it's a gimmick to get that process to. And
Even like as we've been sitting here, I tried a little more of I'm not sitting.
yeah,
I'm not sitting. And I could feel myself float up.
yeah.
And then when I started thinking I'm sitting, I
Well,
felt so
you could
heavy.
feel it, not as much as you just illustrated, but you could probably feel a little downward direction within you. That's
Hmm.
compression. So you were decompressing yourself by thinking,
Hmm.
I'm not
I'm
sitting.
not sitting.
And again, I cannot stress too much, no help from this guy. This guy's job is to stay out of the way, could
I'm
be
not sitting.
aware of it, might be, but
Okay.
not terribly interested in it while the experiment's going on.
Okay.
And not expecting the same thing tomorrow if you use the same direction in the same situation, because tomorrow's a different day.
Okay.
And the you that'll be doing it tomorrow is not the you that's sitting here right now.
Okay.
So there's your
I can do
homework.
that.
Yeah. Oh, I know you can do it.
I can do
So,
it.
any questions about anything?
No, I think I want to make sure I have my constructive rest in my head correctly. Can
Yeah,
I kind of repeat to you what I think I'm
sure.
going to do?
Absolutely.
So, I'm going to go towards my couch, I think, so that I can put my feet up on the couch.
Mhm.
Um,
Lower
and then I'm
lower
going to
legs, your calves should be on resting on the couch. Yeah.
calves.
Mhm.
Okay. So calves on couch.
Yeah. And
Um,
the whole idea is just to elevate your knees, but
okay.
not with no effort on your no effort to do that.
Okay. No effort. So I'll put some books behind my head, under my head, where the protruding bump will be in the middle of the books.
Yep.
The spine of the books will be away from me.
Yep.
And I'll have my husband make sure that I have like a slight incline off the ground. But
And
if that makes
not
pressure on
quite
my
as steep
throat,
as a very slight incline. Yeah, very.
very slight.
And then if
Okay.
that's uncomfortable in your throat, make it level. And if for any reason it's uncomfortable to have this bump on the books, you could cushion it with like a washcloth or something, couple
A
layers,
blanket, like
something
a
to
thin blanket.
soften it a little bit. There would be no harm
Okay.
in that. Sometimes
Okay.
people are kind of sensitive here. Most people
Mhm.
aren't, but some people, it actually kind of hurts to be on a firm surface. So you want to cushion it a little bit.
Okay. And
But
then the roller, I really don't necessarily need that for under my knees because my feet will be on the couch.
yeah, the roller would be for when there's no couch available. Like if you wanted to take it to school and lie down in your office and you could get away with that.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
yeah,
Good. And then remind myself that there's nothing I need to do.
there's never
Just
anything
need to
to
rest,
do, right? Yeah, nothing.
right? Nothing I need to do. So my goal is to go at I'm gonna aim for 15, and if it fizzles out around 12, I'll give myself grace for that this
Work
first
up to
week.
it gradually if you need
Work
to.
up to it.
Don't worry about that. Don't worry.
Okay, good. I'm gonna have my husband measure my height on a door tonight and tomorrow morning
Yep.
to see the difference.
Just make sure you got the same footwear on both times, or barefoot
Yeah,
or whatever.
or barefoot. And then when I'm not in constructive rest, my new
Yep.
technique or my new thing to try in addition to I'm free
Yeah.
is I'm not doing the thing.
Yeah.
So I'm not sitting. I am not walking.
Yep.
But then like get some practice and like halfway through, switch to I'm green. I'm green.
Or
I'm
purple.
green.
Choose your own
Or
color,
purple.
it's
Yeah.
yeah.
So just something kind of nonsense just to kind of feel the paradoxical
But
direction.
just to move you back to where you were
Yeah.
before the change that happened with the direction.
Hmm.
That's what that's about. And that kind of experimentation, that's not something you got to do forever. You just do it until you're absolutely sure that's a useful direction. But I do
Okay.
think it's important to always be able to test whether a direction that I'm suggesting is actually working. I mean, you
Okay.
want that confidence that hey, it actually is making a difference for the better.
Right. Yeah.
I don't think you
That's
should
great.
ever take it on faith. It's not like a leap of faith kind of thing that
Hmm.
we talked about before.
Yeah. You know, this I'm not walking or I'm not singing, like I've actually had like thoughts that that could be a good theory of something to try in the past, but I thought maybe I was a little crazy to take that approach. So this is very affirming.
Oh, there will be people who, when you mention that to them, are going to think it's nuts. I can assure
But
you.
I've had that thought before. Like
Yeah,
if I just
well,
stop thinking about and even think I'm literally not doing it,
yeah.
it's easier. It's
Yes.
easier.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's what we're trying to get is more ease in what we do.
That's exactly,
And
and everything, not just singing, but your whole existence, basically. I mean,
yes.
yeah. All right.
Yeah, and I'm a power walker, so this will be good for me to practice
Yeah, I'd be interested to know how that works, the power walking.
how it goes.